as we're inside 80 days now to the college football season, Jack, and I mentioned, you ever pay attention to the Kelley Ford rankings, the Kelley Ford ratings? He's an analytics guy, does a real good job. And over the last 4 or 5 years, the K Ford rankings that he does and ratings have been as on point as any in the country. It's just metrics and college football analytics. But he is now out, Kelley Ford, with his ratings for the 2025 college football season. And he has Texas as the odds favorite to win the SEC. And listen to him. He was on a podcast over the weekend that I saw. Kelley Ford was talking about how this shakes out and how close it is at the top of the SEC. This is for projected wins in SEC play. Of course, the Longhorns and everybody in the SEC only playing 8 games this year. But listen to Kelley Ford from the Kelley Ford ratings on why Texas. He has the Longhorns at 6.7%, or excuse me, an average chance to win 6.7 or more games. So essentially, he has them going 7-2, or 7-1 in conference play, possibly 6-2 in the SEC. His ratings, the Kelley Ford ratings, Jack, say Texas has a 20% chance of winning 8, 60% chance of winning at least 7 ball games, which is the most in the SEC over Alabama and Georgia. Here is Kelley Ford on how the ratings shake out and why Texas is the favorite.
I know it's very tempting to just look at the rank and the team number and say, okay, Kelley's saying Texas is going to win the SEC and they're going to beat Alabama in the SEC championship game. That is what my model is projecting right now as the most likely outcome. However, what I really like to do when looking at this is look at that average number. That's what is the model saying is the average number of regular season conference games that each team is going to win. So you can see Texas 6.7. So 6.7 wins, 1.3 losses over the course of the 8-game schedule. Alabama 6.1, but Georgia 6.0. So right now, the difference for me in my model, looking at Alabama's 8-game conference slate and Georgia's, adjusting for their own power rating and their power ratings of their opponents, right, is only 0.1. So it's really, I would say any of those top 3 teams, I would consider favorites to make it to Atlanta. Then there's a little bit of a gap, right? It's down to 5.2 for LSU, Ole Miss, Tennessee, all right there in that mix. I throw Texas A&M in kind of that second grouping as well. So really that top 7 is a little bit separated then from that bottom 9. And so South Carolina then brings in that next group with Auburn, Missouri, Florida, and I throw Oklahoma in there. Then Arkansas is kind of by themselves a little bit, maybe Kentucky, Vanderbilt, Mississippi State, but the bottom 4 are certainly kind of in that grouping by themselves. So that's what I really encourage people to do is look at that average number. And then you can see over there farther to the right, what's the percent chance that each of these teams wins X number of conference games. So, all
right, so the Kelley Ford ratings, the K Ford ratings, they call them Texas, 6.7 chance or 6.7 projected victories in SEC play. That doesn't take into account the non-con, but you assume Texas is going to win 3 of their 4 non-conference games. The Ohio State game's a coin flip to start the year on August the 30th. But if they go 10-2, they're going to be in the college football playoff and be playing in Atlanta for the SEC title. So Texas, Alabama, and Georgia almost A and B, 1A, 2A, and 2A, 2B as far as the second best teams. Then LSU and Ole Miss. Listen to Kelley Ford on the Texas defense. As we've said on this spot many times, I have a chance to be the best defense in the country. And he actually adds the caveat versus the offenses they're going to face in 2025. Texas could be the number 1 defense across the land.
Yeah, I can. And candidly, Mike, we talk about K Ford ratings, the model, Kelley Ford, the person. I was a little surprised that Texas was the number 1 team in my version 1 of the 2025 preseason power ratings. I thought Ohio State or Georgia or, even Alabama was going to be, in contention for that. I thought maybe Texas is number 3 behind the Dogs in Ohio State, but put in all the numbers and this is what has come out as Texas is the number 1 team. And, I think they have the best defense in college football. I mean, I'll start right there. I think this defense, and they were number 2 for me a year ago, they're going to be among, if not the best unit on that side of the ball in the entire country. And I think that combined with this upcoming stat, Mike, how many times on this show just today have I talked about that they're playing the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th most difficult collection of opposing blank? Texas plays the 43rd most difficult collection of opposing FBS offenses. So it's among the easier opposing offenses at the Power 4 level that anybody has. Combine that with the fact that Texas has the number 1 defense, I'm not sure how many points Texas is going to be giving up on a week in, week out basis.
All right, so there's K Ford, and that's what we've said. Texas fans are excited about Arch Manning and Ryan Wingo, who we just heard from. This offense isn't going to have to do a lot of heavy lifting, against, as he said, the 43rd rated offenses they're going to face in the country, right? I mean, Ohio State, they have a brand new quarterback. San Jose State, UTEP, Sam Houston. Florida and DJ Lagway will be one of the more dynamic offenses. Oklahoma was dreadful offensively last year, but they've added John Mateer at quarterback, and Kentucky's not a good offense. Mississippi State, not a good offense. Vanderbilt with Diego Pavia. Georgia, Arkansas, and A&M. There aren't a lot of heavyweight offenses in there, and that's his point. You have the number one defense and maybe the most talented defense in the country against what he has rated out of his number crunching as the 43rd most difficult offensive schedule. This could be, as we've said, like those Georgia defenses, Michigan a couple years ago, Ohio State last year. The number one defense in the country typically wins the national title. At least they have in the last half decade, and defense still wins championships.
Yeah, absolutely. And some of the team, obviously you have the 3 big road games, but other than that, you're pretty
but
good
defense
at home.
travels.
Exactly.
Defense travels.
Yeah.
That'll give you a chance to win all those games. And if you win one of them, 2 of them, you're going to be playing in Atlanta for the college football or for the SEC title. And if you do that, you're playing in the SEC in the big tournament. So.
God bless John Mateer, but they're going to have to run an option offense at Oklahoma.